So Bros fans scream now. Wah! Didn't scream, Raj. So Raj, we should perhaps start by saying you are probably one of the biggest Bros fans.
I am not. I'm so not, actually. Okay, here's my story about Bros. Okay. I grew up in America where Bros were unknown, completely unknown, but, you know, I used to buy all the teenage mags, you know, back in the day, like a gay boy that I was, like 16 magazine and Butt magazine.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was there for, you know, Tiffany, Debbie Gibson, New Kids on the Block, and Bros would occasionally pop up. You know, I'm like, ooh, who are those guys? You know, and you read about them and you're like, oh, they're massively famous in England, and, you know, they're always just really intriguing. And I used to buy a lot of music back in the day, a lot of import CDs. Like, that was my thing. Like, I was always like, give me the imports. I need the imports. So I managed to get an import CD of their first two CDs, The Time and Push, right? Yeah, Time and Push.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. See, I thought you were a Bros fan.
I never followed them or anything.
I've never really followed them either, but I did quite like their CDs. I like their music, and I never saw any of the music videos because you couldn't see them in America. They were just unknown.
Were they ever big in America?
No, never, never. I do remember this. I was very excited, and I was the only one excited about this because Debbie Gibson rolled in on tour in America to close to my hometown, and Bros opened for her, and I was like, oh, Bros is coming, I'm so excited, I have their CDs. No one else was excited. No one knew who they were except me. And so
well, that's good, right?
Yeah,
it's good to have a difference of opinion.
And like an arena full of, like, you know, screaming Debbie Gibson fans, you know, Bros opened for them, and like that no one was like singing along. I'm like, this is weird, this is Bros. Like,
I can only imagine what that sounded like.
Yeah.
I've got tinnitus just thinking about it.
Yeah. But anyway, they did do a really good show, and, you know, it's a proper show for an opening act. I mean, considering how massive they are in the rest of the world. Imagine teenage me going, this is Bros, they're like massive in Europe and Asia. Like, and my friends were like, who? Whatever. So anyways, I have seen Bros once live, opening for Debbie Gibson.
I have seen them once too, but not back in the day, only recently. Because obviously this documentary is based on that show, isn't it? The O2, two shows they did at the weekend.
So fast forward to today, you know, I actually live by the O2 Arena. And then when Bros announced their big reunion show, I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. Bought some really expensive tickets and went to the show. The show was fantastic. Check out my clips of the show, 21,000 views.
Up there. Nice little crafty plug.
And it was a great show. So this documentary film that they've done after the screaming stops really documents their whole life and success and leading up to everything, including the reunion tour, which for me, it was kind of nice because I didn't know that much about Bros, to be honest. I just knew their music. Again, like, even like a couple of days before I saw their show at the O2, I was watching their music videos on YouTube because I hadn't seen them.
Yeah.
I just knew the music. Yeah, for me, it was kind of nice just watching their whole life story play out, and it was really kind of nice to see the film. I swear I could have saw myself in the audience too in the film,
screaming and waving.
Because I was like row 15, something like that.
Throwing your pants up on stage.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
I saw it.
That wasn't me. Shut up. And
that's what people did, right, back then.
For me,
do they still do it?
Okay, Phil, drop it. No, for me, it was a nice documentary about, you know, that little portion of my life that I didn't know I was a part of, really. Yeah. So, and leading up to, you know, the big night at the O2, I was like, oh, it's nice. I was there, yeah.
So I was there too, and just previously, I think it was about a week before that show, maybe a few days, I interviewed Matt Goss. I didn't interview Luke because it was just Matt, but obviously that was to promote this show, or these two shows at the O2. So click the link above. I'm going to do it this time for my interview with Matt Goss. Like I say, I was never a massive fan. I liked their songs. I never really bought anything of theirs, but it was interesting to see the story after the success, because usually these films are about the big build up, and I quite like stories that tackle the downside of success, because we see so much glossed over, kind of rose-tinted stuff about show business, and I think it's quite nice to see what happens when it does go horribly wrong. Not that it was all bad for them, because there was a lot of family tragedies too, and I thought that's what was quite interesting, quite sad to see in this, where their kind of feelings about the death of their mother and the death of their sister, and the death of their sister was that happened when they were really big at the time. So it was a real shock to have that, the high of the success and the real low of family tragedy.
Yeah, and it really touched on the differences of opinions that twins can have too, because twins are really, I'm married to a twin, and they're very close, mentally and spiritually, and then, for the trauma of them going their separate ways for so many years is a really interesting introspective on their thoughts.
The temper tantrums, Matt's temper tantrums were a little bit ridiculous, but then I guess that's how he feels, isn't it? You can't switch off your feelings. You can't be someone you're not.
And Luke really let it be well known in this film that he always felt like he was in the back seat, because literally he was. He's the drummer, and Matt's the upfront guy who everyone worships and adores, and and then Luke broke up the band by quitting, and then they touched on all the hatred that he got from it, because he was crushing all these Brossett's dreams.
Yeah, but you could see his frustration. You could see that coming out in the film, because he wasn't being listened to. Because he was, throwing his penny's worth in about, opinions on how the show should sound and how the show should look, and he wasn't really being heard. It felt like a real friction, and it was quite sad to see that. It was quite sad to see them, having these couple of shows where it should have been fun, and ultimately it was fun for them, because there was a scene where they arrived just before rehearsals, in an empty O2 arena, and you could see that they were both very proud of each other, and looking back in hindsight, almost wanting to bury that animosity. I just wish in a way that they'd had that from the start, when they first started making the film, because it felt like there was a lot of friction that was unnecessary, and it was a shame to see that, I think.
Yeah, and we've been in the music business and music journalism business long enough to know, like, it's not all, roses and rainbows, when you're hanging out backstage. It's lots of temper tantrums, it's lots of attitude, it's lots of conflicting opinions, it's lots of egos, and I think this film really captured a lot of that to show you that, hey, you know what? It seems all glamorous, and you're hanging out with rock stars, and this is your fly on the wall in these sort of situations, but sometimes it's a bit gritty.
Yeah, and it's good to see that grit, I think, with this, especially because they did have so much sadness with their career. I know that they've had quite a bit of flack from certain journalists who have seen this film too, because there are moments in the film that are, they are laugh out loud.
Yeah, there are a few cringeworthy things, but when I see those things, I'm just like, that's what fame will do to you. That's really how it'll screw you in the head and have you be detached from reality a bit. And I've seen this with so many pop stars that I've gotten to know on a personal level from all my years about writing about music, and sometimes it just proves to you that maybe you shouldn't meet your idols, because they usually don't live up to the expectation of what you think they are in their head. And I was a bit surprised at some of Matt's temper tantrums too. And Luke to a certain extent. Although Luke had a very good reason that he felt he wasn't being heard, but I think the way that they interacted with each other was a bit cringeworthy sometimes.
Yeah,
it's very unprofessional.
Yeah.
But it makes for a good documentary drama.
It does, and I do wonder what the boys think of the film. I'm sure they're very proud of the film, but obviously there are parts of the film that, if they'd wanted everything to be a good representation of their good self, then they wouldn't have allowed all the other stuff in there. But it's good that was shown, I think. Obviously, from a director's point of view, we've got Joe Perlman and David Sutar have directed it. They've done, I think, music documentaries before. David Sutar did Take That One.
I saw in the credits too. I don't know if it's the same thing, but James Corden was an executive producer on this.
Oh, really?
I'm like, is it the same one or not? Yeah. But I thought that was very interesting.
That's interesting. Well, for me, it's 3 stars. I really enjoyed watching it. It's not one of the most groundbreaking documentaries, but I think it was an interesting watch, and I feel like I've seen a part of Bross's career that I didn't know about already, and it was quite poignant too.
Yeah, for me it's a 3 stars. If you are a Bros fan, it's probably 4 stars, definitely.
Oh, I would say 5.
Yeah, if you're a Bros fan, you'll really enjoy this.
They have a very loyal fan base, Bros do.
But if you're just the average movie-going documentary music lover, 3 stars for me.
Well, it's interesting to see what Bros fans, the real hardcore Bros fans would think of this documentary because, for reasons that we've mentioned in this, did it live up to your expectations, and did you like to see the downside of their career? Because I think when you're quite protective about a band, you don't really want people to know about the nasty stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's important though, especially when you've got grief in the family. I mean, that's a story in itself.
I don't think this film is going to hurt Bros at all, but I'm just wondering what their future plans are, because after they did the tour, it's all gone a bit silent. Matt's doing his Frank Sinatra thing.
Yeah.
And
he's got that Las Vegas show, isn't he?
Luke is, obviously more passionate about acting now, but it'd just be interesting to see if there's even possibility in next chapter. But having said that too, like all these big reunion shows that are happening now, because it's like it's the time where all the big bands are going to get back together, blah 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 blah. They had a good 2 handfuls of songs for me.
Yeah.
Which their most famous song will always be a hit. When Will I Be Famous? Everyone will always remember that song.
I really want you to do that growl that they do.
I think you really want to do the growl yourself.
See, I always think of French and Saunders when I think of Brass. And interestingly, when I interviewed Matt Goss, I did ask him about that French and Saunders sketch, and he felt really flattered by it, which is a really nice quality to have, I think. You can see the fun in it.
What was he like in person?
I thought he was very charming, and he was very friendly, and he was... he treated me with respect, which was nice, and I always like to have that in return, because
Okay, so he wasn't quite as diva as he appeared to be.
No, not at all.
Okay,
no. He took the picture of us. He took the selfie, because I'm crap at taking selfies. And I have to say, it's a really good picture, so he obviously knows what he's doing. He put a filter on there as well, a nice colour tint.
Okay. Oh, he's so thoughtful.
So if you have seen the film, let us know in the comments below, and particularly if you're a Bros fan, what did you make of it?
I'm expecting lots of views from this.
See you next time. Thank you for watching.